From the nation's capital, Monrovia, good morning and welcome to King's News in a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. I'm Newton Tukwa presenting stories we're following this morning. The Supreme Court of Liberia orders Criminal Court A to halt all proceedings in Capitol Building arson case, cites writ of prohibition by the legal team of former House Speaker Funati Kofa and others. Liberia National Police arrested and jailed a 26-year-old man in Limba County for allegedly having sexual intercourse with chickens resulting to their deaths. Ghanaian authority releases preliminary investigative report in the death of Austin Tinje, a Liberian mobbed to death on February 27 in Sakumono. Away from Liberia, the authorities in South Sudan have said at least 169 people, including senior officials, were killed on Sunday when a group of unidentified men launched an assault on an area in the north of the country. 3 U.S. fighter jets have been down over Kuwait in an apparent friendly fire incident while flying in support of the U.S.-Israeli hostilities with Iran, U.S.-centered comment says. These plus the news bulletin, our international developments and our package. We are taking a very short break to be right back. Thanks for rejoining us. Let's now have the news bulletin. The Justice in Chamber of the Supreme Court has ordered Criminal Court aide Judge Christopher Willie to halt all proceedings in the Capitol arson case following a writ of prohibition filed by the legal team of former Speaker Jade Funati Kofa and 8 co-petitioners. The legal team of former Speaker Funati Kofa and 8 co-petitioners petitioned the High Court through the Justice in Chamber, Associate Justice Yusuf Kawa, challenging Criminal Court aide Judge Willie's decision to disband all 12 jury in the ongoing Capitol Building arson case. The defense counsel argued that the resident judge of Criminal Court A improperly disbanded the jury impaneled to hear the case, something according to the petitioners' petition was irregular, disruptive, and prejudicial to their constitutional right to fair and impartial trial. In the petition for the writ of prohibition, Kofa and the 8 co-petitioners asked the High Court to prevent Judge Willie from taking further action in the matter. However, in a formal notice dated March 2nd, 2026, Associate Justice Yusuf Kaba, presiding in chambers, ordered Judge Willie to appear for a conference on March 5th at 2:00 p.m. for the immediate stay of all proceedings in the Capitol arson case pending the outcome of that conference. The March 5th conference before Judge Yusuf Kaba is expected to clarify whether the writ of prohibition will be formally issued, potentially reinstating the jury or restricting the trial court's discretion, or whether Judge Willie's action will be upheld and proceedings allowed to resume. A 26-year-old man has been arrested by the Liberia National Police in Sackley, PA detachment for allegedly raping 2 chickens at Bala Junction, leading to their deaths. The man is believed to be a resident of the Yigba Park community in Sackley Bay City, Nimba County. Eyewitnesses' account indicate that the incident occurred on Sunday morning, March 1st, 2026. An elder of the community identified as Prince Square, according to reports, alerted the authorities. A situation has sparked concerns among residents. The unnamed man is accused of sexually abusing the chickens and currently in Sackley PA police custody, ongoing investigation. Ghanaian authorities have announced full investigation into circumstances that led to the death of a 26-year-old Austin Tijet, a Liberian. Tijet, who was residing in Ghana, was mobbed to death on Friday, February 27 at Lashibit near Sakumono. A statement issued by Ghana's Regional Police Affairs Unit disclosed that preliminary investigations indicate that the deceased had gone to visit his brother at his apartment in the company of the brother's girlfriend, but was attacked and assaulted by some residents and members of the public when the caretaker of the apartment raised an alarm that the deceased was a thief. According to the statement, the body has since been deposited at the Lashibid Funeral Home for preservation and autopsy. Three persons have been arrested in connection with the 26-year-old Liberian death, including Vincent Adezikat, Francis Amusu, and William Addison. The Ghanaian authorities added that those arrested are currently in police custody, assisting with the investigation, while the fourth suspect, Inush Mensah, is at large. The government of Liberia earlier announced that it was engaging with the government of Ghana to establish the actual cause of the death of the 26-year-old Liberian. Former President George Weah has encouraged graduates of the D. Maxwell Kimiyat Women Empowerment and Vocational Skills Training Center to strive in utilizing the skills in making progress in their society. He told the graduates success in life depends on the seriousness of the person's desire to make a living by putting in practice from the little skills he or she obtained from the training, and also pledged 49 sewing machines for the graduates of the D. Maxwell Kimiyat Women Empowerment and Vocational Skills Training Center in Painesville on Sunday. Remarking during the program, the political leader of the Movement for Economic Empowerment, D. Maxwell Kimiyat, vowed to decentralize the training program in order to benefit people from other communities. At the end of the program, 49 females were certificated for successfully completing the training at the D. Maxwell Kimiyat Women Empowerment and Vocational Skills Training Center in Painesville. The program, which was held at the headquarters of the Movement for Economic Empowerment, was graced by a large number of people, including members and sympathizers of the Congress for Democratic Change, relatives of the graduates, and motorcyclists. The political leader of the People's Liberation Party, Tapodo, has underscored the urgent need for intensified national efforts to combat drug abuse in the country. He expressed concern over the alarming rise in drug-related challenges, describing the situation as a growing threat to communities across the country. Speaking over the weekend during a charity fundraising event organized by One Mind Liberia, the PLP political leader emphasized that addressing drug abuse is not solely the responsibility of government, but requires a collective and coordinated effort from all sectors of society. He noted that the increasing prevalence of substance abuse continues to undermine social stability and youth development. The PLP political leader stressed the importance of active participation for families, community-based organizations, and individual citizens, noting that sustainable progress can only be achieved through shared responsibility and community engagement. According to him, strategic investment in prevention and rehabilitation programs is essential to safeguarding the future of young people and promoting national well-being. Broom County Senator Prince Moy has thrown political jabs at his critics, questioning their development record in Broom County when the previously served in positions similar to his at the national legislature. Speaking Sunday during the dedication of the Winshoe Maternal Waiting Home in Jopolo Clan, Jocolette District, Senator Moy said some of those criticizing him once served in the House of Representatives and served on key committees, but did nothing tangible. Meanwhile, Senator Moy has announced that $50,000 will be appropriated in the national budget through the least District Development Fund to support ongoing development in the area. It disclosed that $25,000 will go toward full renovation of the Winshoe Clinic, while another $25,000 will support the construction of a community guest house as part of efforts to strengthen healthcare and infrastructure in that part of Broom County. The government of France, through its embassy near Monrovia, has committed $8 million United States to the Liberian health sector. Speaking during the official launch of the Leadership, the Management, Governance, and Decentralization Framework, France Ambassador to Liberia Isabelle Ligolic, reaffirming the government of France's long-term commitment to strengthening governance, leadership, and human capital development in the nation's health system. Ambassador Ligoli described the launch as a major achievement in deepening partnership between the two countries. According to the French envoy, the LMGT framework aligns with France's global health strategy strategy, while prioritizes strengthening national health systems and advancing universal health coverage. Ambassador Legodi underscored that the LMGT framework is Liberia lead initiative developed by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, with technical and financial backing from France partners, including expertise from the Francas Development Association. The France ambassador indicated that the framework is fully integrated into Liberian national health policy and aligned with local government acts, ensuring institutional coherence and long-term sustainability, described in the LMGT as more than a policy document. She said it represents a comprehensive and operational toolkit designed to outlive a single project cycle. Justice experts have begun urging members of the national legislature to explicitly criminalize forced marriage as debate for the establishment of the Liberia's long-awaited War and Economic Crimes Code intensified. The one that failure to criminalize forced marriage risks sidelining one of the Civil War's most pervasive abuses. One of those making the call is Elias Keeper, executive director of the USB Global Justice Center, who covered Liberia for more than 2 decades with Human Rights Watch. According to him, it is incredibly important that forced marriage be named among persecutable offenses as the legislature considers 6 computing bills to create the code. The Liberian National Bar Association and the Coalition of Civil Society Groups, led by the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, list forced marriage on crimes against humanity. Moreover, the Office of War and Economic Crimes Code of Liberia, the body overseeing the code's establishment, has not been made public, and it is unclear whether the bill criminalizes the offense. In another development, infrastructural sector, expert Anthony Cole is calling on the national legislature to revisit and approve national budget to allot funding for the maintenance of the yellow machines. Cole expressed the need for the national coordinating team and others employed to be paid to properly maintain the machines to serve for the Liberian people with longevity. He made the comments during the media engagement in Painesville. Code also encouraged President Joseph Boakai to allow the machines to be used in assisting to clear communal farms. And the Youth Congress of the Alternative National Congress has strongly criticized the Liberian government for recent mass demolition of homes in and outside Monrovia. ANC Youth Congress Secretary General Obadiah Soniga said it is unthinkable for the government that campaign on rescue will in turn inflict mass homelessness and suffering on the ordinary people. Obadiah claimed that the importation of the yellow machines is not the solution to the bread and butter issues among the ordinary people in the country. According to him, the government has vowed or has now resolved to turn the offices of the Liberian National Police into an instrument of oppression, whether or whenever people want to demonstrate or demand their rights. Obadiah claimed that funds allocated in the approved national budget has placed to benefit elites in the government wide medicines in hospital have ran low. What if you just joining us? A reminder you're listening to King's News Brother 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, and I'm Newton Toba presenting stories we're following this morning. The Supreme Court of Liberia orders Criminal Code A to halt all proceedings in Capitol Building arson case cites writ of prohibition by the legal team of former House Speaker Fonatit Kofa and others. The Liberian National Police arrests and jailed a 26-year-old man in Nimba County for allegedly having sexual intercourse with chickens, resulting to their deaths. Ghanaian authorities releases preliminary investigative report in the death of Austin Tijan, a Liberian mobbed to death on February 27 near Sakumuno. Away from Liberia, the authorities in South Sudan have said at least 169 people, including senior officials, were killed on Sunday when a group of unidentified men launched an assault on an area in the north of the country. 3 U.S. fighter jets has been down over Kuwait in an apparent friendly fire incident while flying in support of the U.S.-Israeli hostilities with Iran, U.S. Central Command says. These are stories who follow me here this morning against News Broom. We are taking a very short break to be back with voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining. Former President George Weah has encouraged graduates of the D. Maxwell South Kimia Women Empowerment and Vocational Skills Training Center to strive in utilizing the skills in making progress in the society. He told the graduates, success in life depends on the seriousness of the person's desire to make living by putting in practice from the little skills he or she obtained from the training, and also pledged 49 sewing machines for the graduates of the D. Maxwell South Kimia Women Empowerment and Vocational Skills Training Center in Painesville on Sunday.
The speaker encourage you to continue your path because in life you never know. I am glad because I am a testimony of what it takes to be a successful person in life, and I want you to be that person where society believe that you will never become what you want to be, but because you are resilient, you persistent, you continue to move forward to grow, that will make you a successful person. And what I'm saying is, today I'm here, you just graduated from a trade school. A lot of people believe that when you in this institution, the fact that you have now gone to a certain level, then society will raise you up. No, don't never believe that. Because if you believe that, then I'll ask you one question. Why are people that are running taxi on their own, they are successful more than people that are in offices? You got people that are ministers, but you got a taxi driver that is successful. The only reason that taxi driver is successful because he believes that what he's doing, that's his life, and he can multiply. So it's not just going to school to sit down in class, but this is also school for you. I used to work as a senator, and I was on the leader of the team to the ECOWAS Parliament. While we are the ECOWAS Parliament, I saw a young guy. They keep coming to me, I'm a tailor. I said, what you can sew? He bring a little shirt. I need me propo when I brought it to Liberia. He said a little shirt, and I said, what's it? He said, this is what I can do. So I put it on. I said, but this can be another revolution. Even though we wear some of these things in our country, but we have to make this a revolution. So I'm going to take this, I will buy it from you, and I will make sure that all my colleagues in my country, whether you like it or not, you wear the African clothes. So Dave, he's one of the most successful tailors in Nigeria today.
Remarking during the program, the political leader of the Movement for Economic Empowerment, that D. Maxwell Kimian vowed to decentralize the training program in order to benefit people from other communities. At the end of the program, 49 females were certificated for successfully completing the training at the D. Maxwell Kimian Women Empowerment and Vocational Skills Training Center in Painesville.
Having said that, we are very much pleased to announce that we are doing some transformation as it relates to our vision for this program. And so beginning Our next cycle, which is the third cycle, the program will run for 9 months. The program will run for 9 months. I'm doing this on behalf of the board chair who mandated me to do so. The program will run for 9 months. Out of the 9 months, we will run our regular 6 months intensive care training within the training setting, the class setting, and following that 6 months, you will then have 3 months of intensive internship also beginning the next phase, which makes it then 9 months. And following that, then we will have our third graduation for the third project cycle. I am even more pleased that though you are graduating today, but in line with our own unreserved commitment to not leave you out of the picture, so you will also, this class will also have access to their 3 months internship training program as it is. And the 3-month internship will begin on the 9th of March. On March 9th, the 3-month internship will begin for all of you. We've concluded all of the arrangements with a tailoring and design center and cosmetology business center to all within the rehab community. So they are all ready and set for you beginning March the 9th, as we've indicated. Yeah.
He's the political leader for the Movement for Economic Empowerment, the Maxwell Sakimian. Earlier, you heard the voice of former Liberian President Josh Weah. The political leader of the People's Liberation Party, Tapodo, has underscored the urgent need for thus intensify national efforts to combat drug abuse in Liberia and expressed concern over the alarming rise in drug-related challenges, describing the situation as a growing threat to communities across the country. Speaking over the weekend during a charity fundraising event organized by One Mind Liberia, the PLP political leader emphasized that addressing drug abuse is not solely the responsibility of government, but requires a collective and coordinated effort from all sectors of society.
You are to step in tomorrow. You are to make a difference tomorrow. And you spoke about children on drugs. That's a serious problem. There is different traits in our country today. Young people, decent young people, they are being addicted to drugs. And it's sad. It makes me feel so bad. Because I, for one, I got out of children. Yes, they have the opportunity in Liberia, or wherever they are. You know, I would like to see that initiative that you guys are taking to solve this problem. You know, I've been a former legislator in this country, and I know what it is like. I know what it is like to like laws, to protect them. Pressing cellulars so that we can identify with you all. Make sure I tell you that look, there's a journey where you all have made it this far. And I expect that God will take it to the end. At the end of the day, we'll leave the stage. Once more to take our thoughts. But we got a kid around us that we think that we can them to step into leadership tomorrow. There's a vacuum there. There's a vacuum there. We have scholarship programs, we have students, we have other stuff.
He's the political leader of the People's Liberation Party, Tapo Dode speaking. Broom County Senator Prince Moy has trained political jabs at his critics questioning their development record in Broom County when they previously served in positions similar to his at the national legislature. Speaking Sunday during the dedication of the Winshu Maternal Waiting Home in Jopolo Clan, Jokola District, Senator Moy said some of those criticizing him once served in the House of Representatives and served on key committees but did nothing tangible. Meanwhile, Senator Moy announced that 50,000 United States dollars will be appropriated in the national budget through the List District Development Fund to support ongoing development in the area.
Some of the people that criticize what we're doing now, they were in the house before, and they were on public accounts. You know, the budget is passed at the level of the house by two committees, Ways and Means and Public Accounts. Some of them, they led the Public Accounts Committee for years, but they can't show one thing that they put in the budget to come and benefit the accounting, and we'll be challenging them. What else you going to do? 2019, 2020, if you single-handedly handle the budget of the country, Jeremiah Broom was going for election, Thomas was going for election, as a deputy speaker was going for election. So we only had one person that was sitting handling the whole account of the country. What you can show that you brought in this county as your county. I mean, when you talk, nobody listen, huh? But when we sit there, we bring millions of dollars. Yes, millions of dollars. I'm going to list from the District Development Fund country to take $25,000 and renovate the whole place. Listen up. So the theater will be fully renovated, everything. To the same will cover all your money like 45,000 will be married. So we'll come back here, say the one on the ground. Every mistake here, you use that 25,000 with the oversight of the CHO, and all of you do will be Hello. You know I'm not windshield. Because windshield, and I'm going to windshield and I see windshield. So another 25,000 will come from me to pay the guest house. 25,000 will come from me to pay the guest house.
Hayes, Bon County Senator Prince Moïse speaking. The government of France, through its embassy near Monrovia, has committed $8 million United States to Liberia health sector. Speaking during the official launch of the Leadership, Management, Governance and Decentralization Framework, France Ambassador to Liberia Isabelle Ligodic reaffirming the government's long-standing commitment to strengthening governance, leadership and human capital development in the nation's health system. Ambassador Ligodic described the launch as a major achievement in deepening partnership between the two countries.
The leadership, management, and governance decentralization policy is a milestone in the partnership between France and Liberia, aligned with the French Global Health Strategy, which prioritizes strengthening health systems and achieving universal health coverage. Strengthening health governance reflects France's conviction that strong leadership and sound management are the foundations of a resilient and sovereign health system to reduce maternal and neonatal mortality and to effectively combat major pandemics. It is a Liberia-led framework developed by the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Local Government in close collaboration with French partners, Expertise France and the French Agency for Development, to support and accompany the Ministry of Vision. The partnership between both ministries demonstrates in practice how decentralization can strengthen governance, clarify roles, and reinforce coordination at all levels. It is fully integrated into Liberia's national health policy and aligned with the Local Governance Act, ensuring coherence and institutional anchoring. It is also a comprehensive and operational toolkit, not just a document, but a structured package including the LMGD policy, the implementation strategy, the standard operating procedures, and operational guidelines that will endure beyond a single project cycle. These tools are already being used to train facilitators and frontline managers, ensuring decentralization becomes operational reality. LMGD interventions empower leaders at national, county, district, and health facility levels to plan effectively, manage resources responsibly, and make informed decisions. By strengthening management capacity at decentralized levels, the framework enhances accountability and responsiveness to community needs. Investing in human resources human capital is a priority, trying to support training excellence, build trust, and a sustainable capacity building approach.
She is France ambassador to Liberia. Yes, speaking. Well, if you're just joining us with the time half past the hour, a reminder. You're listening to King's News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories will follow in this morning. The Supreme Court of Liberia orders Criminal Court A to halt all proceedings in Capitol Building arson case, cites writ of prohibition by the legal team of former House Speaker Funatit Kofa and others. The Liberian National Police arrested a 26-year-old man in Nipa County for allegedly having sexual intercourse with chickens, resulting to their deaths. Ghanaian authorities releases preliminary investigative report in the death of Austin Tijan, a Liberian mobbed to death on February 27 near Sakumono. Away from Liberia, the authorities in South Sudan have said at least 169 people, including senior officials, were killed on Sunday when a group of unidentified men launched an assault on the area in the north of the country. 3 U.S. fighter jets have been down over Kuwait in an apparent friendly fire incident while flying in support of the U.S.-Israeli hostilities with Iran, U.S. Central Command says. These are stories we're following here this morning on King's News Room. We are taking another short break to be back with voices of the newsmaker. Welcome back. Justice experts have begun urging members of the national legislature to explicitly criminalize forced marriage as they paid for the establishment of Liberia's long-awaited War and Economic Crimes Code intensified. They warned that failure to criminalize forced marriage risks sidelining one of the Civil War's most pervasive abuses. One of those making the cause is Elias Kepler, Executive Director of the USB Global Justice Center, who covered Liberia for more than 2 decades with Human Rights Watch. The Liberian National Bar Association, a coalition of civil society group led by the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, lists forced marriage honor crimes against humanity. Moreover, the Office of War and Economic Crimes Code of Liberia, the body overseeing the court's establishment, has now been made public, and it is unclear whether the bill criminalizes the offense. The bill have been drafted for a War and Economic Crimes Code, reflecting it re-energized campaign for accountability more than 2 decades after Liberia's civil war officially ended, according to Anthony Stevens, judicial correspondent of the New Narrative. They announced 6 bills before the national legislature calling for the forced marriage to be criminalized.
Liberia's civil wars between 1989 and 2003 claimed an estimated 250,000 lives and displaced millions. Today, 6 bills have been drafted for lawmakers here to consider setting up a long-delayed War and Economic Crimes Code and a National Anti-Corruption Code to prosecute offenses during that period. International justice experts are urging them to ensure that forced marriage be explicitly criminalized in the founding statute of the War Crimes Code. Elise Kepler of the Global Justice Center, who covered Liberia with Human Rights Watch, says that it is incredibly important for forced marriage to be declared a prosecutable offense. Her view is echoed by the Registrar of the Residual Special Court for Civil Law, Binta Masare. Liberia's current domestic laws do not criminalize forced marriage, even though the practice was widespread during the wars. Experts warn that if forced marriage isn't clearly named as an abuse, it may be overlooked when the court begins to work. For victims and advocates, what the court statute includes will shape who gets justice and whether justice is truly complete.
Anthony Stevens of the New Narrative ending a report. In a related development, infrastructural sector expert Anthony Cole is calling on the national legislature to revisit and approve the national budget to allot funding for the maintenance of the yellow machines. Cole expressed the need for the national coordinating team and others employed to be paid properly to maintain the machine to serve for the Liberian people with longevity.
A lawmaker's statutory duty is to enact law in the interest of the citizens of this country. So, what I want to acknowledge there is the team that was set up as a maintenance team to keep an eye. Also, they are also serving as a custodian for government machinery. So, they should be paid well because low salary can bring about corruption. So, the maintenance team should be paid well so that the machine will be maintained and supervised at all times for construction purpose. Based on the maintenance aspect, they can work around it. The machine is there for multiple purposes. The machine is there for agricultural activities. The machine is there for road connectivity. So that machine, the president is a wise president, so he brought that machine for so many programs that will enhance development. That's why he bought the machine. The machine is not stuck to one program. No, agriculture, road maintenance, everything. Once the machine was brought for development, we should take agricultural activity into consideration, and anything that will bring development to this nation, we should be taken into consideration. Honorable President Joseph Newman Boyka, I want to take this time to commend the government for the initiative undertaken by your administration to deploy yellow machinery in Liberia interior for construction of roads. This initiative will drive development, enhance better road connectivity. Mr. President, once again, I want to say thank you for being committed to national progress. That of saying, they say it is better in keeping with the old saying, when a man is alive, you give him his flower. Why is alive? The issue of development has nothing to be politicized. What the president of this country is doing in the betterment of the citizen. Even the past government, they did their part. If another person is there, when he do well, let us commend him. I'm not part of any political party. For that yellow machine to function continuously, the maintenance team that the president has set up should be in full readiness, and they should be consistent when it comes to maintenance aspect. That's the only way that machine will have a long lifespan.
His infrastructural sector expert Anthony Cole speaking. The Youth Congress of the Alternative National Congress has strongly criticized the Liberian government for recent mass demolition of homes in and outside Monrovia. ENC Youth Congress Secretary General Obadiah Soniga said it is unthinkable for the government that campaign on rescue will in turn inflict mass homelessness and sufferings on the ordinary people. Obadiah claimed that the importation of yellow machines is not the solution to the bread and butter issues among the ordinary people.
This vision of the Indomitable National Youth Congress ANC is clear: to resist exploitation, to demand justice, and to build a nation where dignity is not a privilege but a right. We must rise not with despair but with determination. We must organize not with fear but with faith. We must speak, not with whisper, but with thunder, for the people of Liberia deserve more than yellow machine. They deserve justice, dignity, and decent life. Infrastructure is not about machines. It is about people. It is about lives in homes, piping water, jobs, and money in the people's pockets. Without these, machines are nothing but monuments to failure. Garbage had overtaken Center Street Cemetery. The Monrovia City Corporation built walls to have filled, rather than remove it. Instead of solving these problems, the government hired them behind walls. But garbage cannot be hidden. It stinks. It spreads. It affects. It is a metaphor for governance itself. Corruption conceals incompetence, discards failure marks. The budgetary expansion benefits political elites, while bread and butter Healthcare, education, sanitation, and agriculture remains underfunded as the government boasts of self-reliance, inadequately dealing with the gap between the rich and the poor. The Liberia Revenue Authority itself admits that bad concession deals passed by the legislature drain national resources. The Supreme Court confirmed that 10 laws are violated. Civil society organization like CETAL demands probes into police violence. Yet the government responds with silence or worse, with force. Liberians must ask, what use are yellow machine and grand projects if women are shot in eviction, if children gamble in the street, if garbage overtake our cemetery, and if graduates find no job to do? True rescue demands not rhetoric, but transformation. It demands that the government serve the people, not the elites. It demands accountability, justice, and the redistribution of resources toward health, education, agriculture, and welfare.
Obadiah Sonigat is the ANC Youth Congress Secretary General. They're speaking. That's the Imbato, Secretary General of the Liberia Labour Congress, has officially written President Joseph Boakai calling for the construction of schools in illicit mining and agricultural sites in rural parts of the country. Speaking shortly upon his return from an international conference on child labor held in Rabat, Morocco, John now disclosed the Liberian Labour delegation has been given the mandate to work with the Liberian government in establishing feeding centers in the mining and agricultural sites to encourage children to go to schools.
This mission of the Indomitable National Youth Congress ANC, this mission of the Indomitable National
Elimination of Child Labor Conference in Madagascar, Morocco, where the ILO invited us. We're instructed by our partners. They want to help, the donors want to help us, but the question is what our government is doing to fight child labor. So we came back home and we wrote the government, to the office of His Excellency, President Joseph Boakai Sr. The workers are demanding schools to be built in the plantation, the agricultural farming, the artisan mining, where our children under the age of 5 to 15 years old are doing mining, are doing farming at the plantation, at the agricultural level, for the children to leave from there, because the children are being used by their parents to go there to get little support income from there so that they can feed their children. The children are not in school. They are taking drugs in. Some are taking drugs in. Some are just there. Nothing. We just did our survey. We went there. We took some photos. We got a lot of information on the children that they want to go to school. Nobody to help them. And that is why we are demanding this government to build schools within the plantation. Send the fire zone management cannot do it. Send the agricultural ministry cannot do it. Send the mining sector that the government cannot reach there. We are appealing the government to go there and build schools and train the teachers and let the children get to school and open a feeding program for the children to leave that place, because it's dangerous. And we've got a mandate from the ILO Child Labor Conference that from now to 2030, all government institutions are members of the ILO should fight to eliminate child labor. So we have given this government up to 2030 for us to fight. Work with the elders, the community leaders in those various counties, along with the Labor Congress team, so that we can fight this all-important disease.
John Nat is the Imbato, Secretary General of the Liberia Labour Congress. They're speaking. Now we're from Liberia. The authorities in South Sudan have said at least 169 people, including senior officials, were killed on Sunday when a group of unidentified men launched an assault on an area in the north of the country, describing the attack as carried out by dozens of armed youth. UN Administrative Areas Information Minister James Majok alleged that they came from neighboring United States and were linked to the Sudan People's Liberation Army in opposition. The SPLAIU has denied any involvement in the attack, accusing the United States authorities of politicizing the violence. The UN has repeatedly warned that the country is at risk of sliding back into full-scale civil war. 3 U.S. fighter jets have been down over Kuwait in an apparent friendly fire incident while flying in support of the U.S.-Israeli hostilities with Iran, U.S. Central Command says. The F-15 jets were mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti Air Force defense system, announced on Monday. The 6 crew ejected safely and have been recovered, they added. The cause of the incident is under investigation. There have been fresh attacks by both sides of the conflict on Monday, and Iran has denied Trump's suggestion that it is ready for fresh negotiations with the U.S. The death of the fourth U.S. serviceman was announced by CENTCOM on Monday. On that notice, I would like to go home this morning on this edition of the program News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this morning, let's remind you of stories we've been following. The Supreme Court of Liberia orders Criminal Court A to halt all proceedings in the Capitol building arson case, cites writ of prohibition for legal team of former House Speaker Konati Kofa and others. The Liberia National Police arrests and jail 26-year-old man in Limba County for allegedly having sexual intercourse with chickens, resulting to their deaths. Ghanaian authority releases preliminary investigative report in the death of Austin Tijan, a Liberian mobbed to death on February 27 near Sakumono. Away from Liberia, the authorities in South Sudan have said at least 169 people, including senior officials, were killed on Sunday when a group of unidentified men launched an assault on an area in the north of the country. 3 U.S. fighter jets have been downed over Kuwait in an apparent friendly fire incident while flying in support of the U.S.-Israeli hostilities with Iran, U.S. Central Command says. These are stories we follow here this morning on King's Newsroom. Let us still join us this afternoon at 1 o'clock, at which time we will be here with another splendid edition of the program Newsroom. I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package. Our sources, my name is Newton Tukwa. Thanks for listening and watching. Good morning.